Right now, though, we welcome in Shaun Powell. He covers the NBA for NBA.com. He's been covering the league for a long time. Shaun, Jonas and Rob Parker, what's happening? How are you?
Yo, what up, Shaun?
Jonas, Rob, what's going on now?
Man, doing great.
We're trying to figure out what the hell's happening with this MVP race. All right, like what are we looking at? Because now it feels like we got players that are campaigning.
Everybody's politicking, Shaun, for
and it almost feels like whoever has been injured the least amount is going to end up winning this whole thing. Where do you stand on the MVP?
You know what? How about just letting it run its course? I mean, particularly if it's a close race. I always try to resist voting on awards like after 50, 60 games. I want to see – I'm not saying that, I have to see the whole 82. Well, this season it's only 72. But in a close race like it is now with Embiid, Jokic, I guess you want to keep LeBron in there. I know he's missed some games. And,
LeBron's not in it. Come on. Let's get LeBron off that list. Shaun,
now,
stop.
Okay, so if you're going to say that, then therefore LaMelo Ball doesn't get Rookie of the Year.
He shouldn't get. He missed 3/4 of the season. I mean,
but see, okay, so when the ballots are distributed to the media, it should come up with a clear and concise rule. You cannot award this to person who's missed X amount of games. But the ballot doesn't come with that.
But you don't need to say that, Shaun. Seriously, like a guy. I mean, if you're a credible media guy, you're going to give a guy the Rookie of the Year off of 25 games. Seriously.
Rob, what's the cutoff then? What's the cutoff?
I mean, I would just take a look. I don't know what the cutoff is. I mean, if he missed 10 games or 12 games out of a 72-game season, for me, that would be okay. You had an injury. But the idea that you missed 3/4 of the games, I can't.
Well, I don't know if he's missed 3/4. But anyway, the point being is this. When the ballots are distributed, everybody throws in their own philosophy. Like, for example, take a guy like Steph Curry. If his team doesn't get the playoffs, does that automatically discount him, even though he's having an epic run? See, everybody has their own philosophy when it comes to these awards, because the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, any sports organization that allows writers to vote for it, they don't come up with a set of rules. You see? So everybody puts their own rule in it, and that's when it becomes confusing.
No, I get that part, but I'm saying, Shaun, even when Kobe, the year, what was that, Jonas, where he averaged 35, had the 81 points, and the team was a 6th seed? Yeah. 2006, Shaun, he finished 4th or 5th in the MVP voting, and he had an epic year because it is about your team. It does matter if you're winning or not. Jokic is playing well and has played well all year, has played all the games, and I don't know how people are like over and Murray gets hurt and they're still winning. How is he not the front runner?
Okay, I want to answer that, but I want to ask you a question. Has there ever been in NBA history an MVP winner who played on a losing team?
I'm sure it's happened, and the league's been around almost 100 years, but I can't remember it.
Okay, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who had an epic year, his first year with the Lakers, epic year. He averaged something like 38 again, but it was just ridiculous. But they had a losing record, and they gave him the MVP anyway. So there's precedent. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, getting back to your thing about Jokic, to me, he's a front runner because here's a guy who shows up every night. He plays well. He's consistent. And if I can just be a little bit biased here, he is the rare big man in the last 20 years. Ever since Shaq won the MVP, there hasn't really been a big man in contention. So now you really have two, unless you're going to discount Embiid because he's missed so much time. But I think Jokic, in my opinion, is a front runner because he's played well. He's almost averaging a triple-double. As a matter of fact, I say if Jamal Murray had still been healthy, Jokic would average a triple-double for the season because his assists would be up with Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray on the floor.
Shaun Powell of NBA.com joins us here on Fox Sports Radio. Jonas Knox in for Chris Broussard alongside Rob Parker. This is the Odd Couple here on FSR. How concerned should the Brooklyn Nets be and Nets fans be about the setback for James Harden from his comeback from the hamstring injury?
Zero.
You say zero? I'd love to hear this, Shaun. Okay.
Zero. Because when you look at a team like the Nets and also look at a team like the Lakers, come on, man, this is all precautionary. You can kind of just get a sense that, I'm not denying whether players are hurt. I'm not denying that. But the severity, I think if you're Brooklyn and you're, a half game out of first place in the East, you know you're going to the playoffs. There's no home court advantage because you're not going to have full capacity of these arenas. Do you really care where you finish in the standing? The same thing with the Lakers. They don't care. The only thing these two teams care is if their superstars are fully healthy in late May when the ball goes up for the playoffs. So I say 0.
But and I don't disagree with you. I think they've been overly cautious with these guys. But here's the other thing: if this continues to happen, just are we getting to the point where the regular season will become totally meaningless and teams just will be like, we don't care, we're not going to play all our guys? There was a big game. What was it? Brooklyn and Philadelphia, and the Nets decided to sit, Durant in that, and Blake Griffin. And LaMarcus Aldridge, we found out, was injured, but he didn't play. It was like, we don't care. Like that could have been for a tiebreaker for the division, right? You're playing Philly. That's the game you want to win. You want to take a night off against Memphis or Detroit. I get that. But they didn't even play in that game. So are we going to get to that point, Shaun, where the regular season is meaningless in the NBA?
Are we going to get to that point? I think we've arrived to that point.
Are we there already? Okay.
Hey, but hold on a second. When you say the NBA regular season is meaningless, to an extent, yes, it's meaningless to the Lakers. It's meaningless to the Clippers. Right now, it's meaningless to the Phoenix Suns, Utah Jazz, Philadelphia 76ers, Brooklyn Nets. You know what? Milwaukee Bucks. You know why? Because they set a pace where they're so far ahead of everybody else that it doesn't matter. But the regular season means a heck of a lot to the New York Knicks. Means right now it means a lot to the Miami Heat because they didn't set a pace the way that the Sixers did and the Bucks did. It means a lot to the Charlotte Hornets. All those teams that are fighting for playoff position like the 6, 7, 8 spot. Oh, it means something. You're not going to see Luka Doncic have a rest day. No, he's playing. There's no load management with some of those teams.
Shaun, last one for me before we let you go. What's the difference between this year's Clippers team and last year?
Well, we don't know yet because they haven't gotten to the playoffs. So anything we say right now, take that with a grain of salt. I mean, Paul George can go out right now and look amazing. But if he goes back to being the Paul George we saw last year in the bubble, then what does it all mean?
What do you mean? He's playoff P. What are you talking about, Shaun?
But Shaun, Shaun, what about the addition of Rondo and especially him? They needed a point guard, and if he plays the way he has in the playoff Rondo, I think he's a huge addition to that team.
Rob, I've heard this about Rondo now for ever since he stepped foot back in L.A. to join the Clippers. I'm almost afraid that the expectations for him are just too steep. Yes, he did it last year with the Lakers to an extent. I mean, Anthony Davis and LeBron James won that championship, and he's done it in the past. But does that automatically mean he's going to do it once more time? I think the Clippers certainly hope so, and all signs point in that direction. But we have to see it first, and I'm not so sure it's an automatic now with Rondo.
He is Shaun Powell. You read his stuff on NBA.com. You can get him on Twitter at Powell to the people.
I was going to say he has the best handle on Twitter.
Yeah, Powell.
And Shaun, do you block people on Twitter?
Oh, here we go.
Shaun?
Never. I never do.
Shaun,
you
know what?
Never.
When people go sideways on me and they do some crazy stuff or try to put words in my mouth, I block. And I got a new song. I got a block song, Shaun. Ready? Here's the block song. It's my Twitter, and I'll block if I want to. Block if I want to. Block if I want to. You would block too if they tried to dish you.
Oh my God!
You know what's really bad? Not the singing, of course, but it's the fact that the Grammys are over with because I think that song deserves some nomination. Right
There you go.
Unbelievable.
Shaun, you're the best. You're the best, Shaun.
Great. Now you just guaranteed he's going to play it again next hour, Shaun.
You already know, right?
Unreal. Shaun, thanks, man. We appreciate it.